Good afternoon, all of you. Let's start our today's session. So, what we have discussed in last session? In last session, we have continued our discussion with the, you can say, knowing your data. Okay, and after knowing your data, we have discussed that what is data pre-processing. And in data pre-processing, we have started with the qualities of data. So, which are the qualities of data, or you can say measures for quality of data. So that we have discussed. So let's continue our discussion. Okay, these were the qualities which we have discussed: accuracy, completeness, consistency, timelines, believability, and interpretability. This we have already discussed. Let's continue our discussion. Which are the major tasks in data pre-processing? Okay, so major task is data cleaning. So what we will do in data cleaning? If there are any missing value, okay, if there are any inappropriate value, if there are, you can say, any irregularity in data, okay, or some outlier kind of data, so or it is a noisy data, then you can clean it, you can make it smooth, okay. If there are blank space, okay, missing value, so you will fill the missing value with some value. So that we will study in data cleaning. Next is data integration. Okay, so what is data integration? Data integration means, as I told you previously, that many times whenever you will work in machine learning, your data will be in different database. Okay, you have to combine data from different database. So data integration it will give you idea. Okay, it is a study of the technique which will be helpful to you whenever you are combining data from the multiple data sources. Okay, when you are combining data from the multiple data sources. So which things you should consider while you are combining data from multiple data sources, that we will see. Next is data reduction. So dimensionality reduction, numerosity reduction, and data compression. Okay, so that we will study in depth. Okay, but you have to remember that which are the technique for data reduction: dimensionality reduction, numerosity reduction, and data compression. And last one is data transformation and data discretization. So that is normalization, concept hierarchy generation. So that we will see what is concept hierarchy. Okay, concept hierarchy is like a tree. Okay, we are creating a binary tree, binary search tree. The way you people are creating binary search tree, that same method, using that same method, we will create the concept hierarchy. So let's see what is data cleaning. So why there is a need of data cleaning? So most important thing, real world data is very dirty. Dirty means inconsistent values, inappropriate values. Okay. For example, in date of birth, someone will write down male. Okay. But nowadays, rarely this is happening because of validation. Because before submitting data, they will validate first. But previously, when there was issue with the, let's say, web development framework, most of the data was collected from the website. Okay, or sometimes if you are collecting data from sensor and instrument is faulty, then it will give you inappropriate result. So that will be again a problem. That's why while you are getting data from voltmeter, okay, and ground pin in the voltmeter, sorry, you can say multimeter, it is not working. Multimeter ground pin is not working, so it will give you an appropriate result. Okay, whatever voltage reading you will be getting, that won't be correct. So real world data is very dirty. There are lots of problems and lots of potentially incorrect data. Okay, we don't have any problem with let's say minor faulty data. Okay, but potentially incorrect data, it will create a huge mistake, a huge problem in learning. Okay, because it will deviate the learning towards a mistake. Okay, so that is one problem. So let's see that which are the various definitions. What we can say that this data is dirty. So first one is incomplete. In incomplete, in example, I have written that occupation is equals to empty. Okay, so occupation cannot be empty. Occupation can be either, let's say, student or employee or let's say employer. Okay, or your relationship with the guardian. So that cannot be empty. Um, it can be father, mother, okay, or son or daughter, anything, but it cannot be empty. So that is the example of incomplete data. That is the example of incomplete data. Uh, in data set, let me tell you, if we are reading an image from video, okay, if we are reading an image from video and due to noise, some portion of the image is blank, some portion of the image is blank. Okay, so at that time, it will result into incomplete data. Or while you are taking photograph, okay, if your hand moves, then instead of sharp photograph, it will be fuzzy photograph. Okay, so if you will feed that photo to training algorithm, then that will be incomplete, or you can say inappropriate data. Before feeding that data to algorithm, you have to process it. Next is noisy data. Can anyone give me the example of noisy data in form of image? Yes. Yes. Any student from online?
सर जब आप जैसे लो लाइट में फोटो खींचते हो तो फिर उसमें नॉइज आती है.
Yes. Okay, so whenever you will take photograph in low light, you will get different color, multiple color pixel. Okay, red, green, blue. So that is one example of noise. If you will take photograph in uh, too much bright sunlight or in front of shiny object, okay, then also you will get lots of white light. What is that? That is a kind of noise. Okay, because if we will feed that image to algorithm, then algorithm will be trained to detect that shiny white object instead of detecting normal object. So here in this case, they have given example about statistics data set. So salary is equals to -10, age is equals to -5, okay, or let's say date of birth is equals to uh, 4, 4th July 2040, 2040. So that is also incorrect data. So this kind of data can be considered as a noise. Now noisy data can be outlier as well. Okay, but before discarding that data, before averaging that data, before filling or replacing that data with some other value, you should check whether that data is proper or not. Okay, so let's say if in class someone is getting 10 SPI, okay, then it should not be like that. Average is 6.5, so student who has received 10 SPI should be replaced 6 or 7 SPI. Okay, this should not happen. Why? Because that is a genuine case. Okay, but if someone says that yeah, I have received 11 or 12 SPI, then definitely we have to correct that input. Inconsistent. So containing discrepancy in codes or name. Okay, for example, uh, if you will change the rating, let's say mark system. So previously we were having percentage system. Okay, percentage out of 100. Now it is replaced by SPI and CGPA. So that 100% scale is converted into scale of 10. Okay, so if we are merging data from old student history and new student history, okay, then we have to convert this Either you have to convert all percentage into CGPA, or we have to convert CGPA into percentage. Okay, so that we should check. Inconsistence. Another example of inconsistent data is same record, same tuple is repeating multiple times. Redundant data, we can say duplicate data. Okay, so if same reading is taken multiple times, then it will result into inconsistent data. Okay, another example they have given that age is 42. Okay, user will enter my age is 42 and birthday 3rd July 2010. Okay, so it is not possible at all. Why? Because either birth date is wrong or age is wrong. Okay, so whatever attributes are there, okay, it should be relevant. Let's say if we are working with the ICE data set, okay, where we will try to, you can say, measure the freezing temperature of different element. Okay, and for water, if we say that water will be freezed at 100 degrees Celsius, okay, so that is inconsistent data. Value may be right, okay, but that is not related to the real life scenario. And last one is intentional. So this is something like you people are giving your email address on registration form. Okay, if you are on website and if someone force you to register, then what you will do? You will write abc@xyz.com. Okay, that's why they have come up with the method of verification. They will send a verification link on your email address. Okay, and if that email address exists, then and then they will allow you to register in their system or on their portal. Okay, so sometimes what will happen intentionally, incorrect data will be entered. Okay, intentionally incorrect data will be entered, or you can say biased data, whatever is. Okay, but we will not use term bias because bias will create some different meaning. All of you are clear up to this from online? All of you are clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now, let's see what is missing data. So when data is not available, okay, in pandas, while we have studied pandas library, if you people can recall, then we have studied one subject, one function called fill_na. Fill_na. So fill not available. So many times you will download the data set. It will be like sparse matrix. It will be like sparse matrix. What is the characteristics of sparse matrix? More values are 0. Okay. Majority of the values will be 0, or you can say absent. So in terms of data set, when let's say you are having very huge number of features, 500 or 600 features, okay, but in each row hardly 10 to 15 values are present, and rest of the, let's say, 450 values are absent. Okay, then it will result into you can say missing value. Okay, those values are not recorded. So, for example, many tuples have no recorded value for several attributes such as customer income and sales data, because most of time customer will not prefer to say the income. Okay, they will not prefer to disclose the income or age or date of birth or personal email address. So people will try to avoid uh, giving this confidential detail, or you can say private detail. So at that time in system, entry will be blank. So that will be missing value. Now, what can be the reason behind missing value? Okay, so first of all, if we are getting data through device, then if malfunctioning is there, device is not working properly, then also it will create problem. Next is inconsistency with other record data, just deleted. So it is something like, let's say I'm creating new database, okay, and I'm having an already existing database. So if those records are not fitting into new database, then if I will delete those. So old, or you can say past data, will be deleted. So I cannot use that data. Next is data not entered due to misunderstanding. Okay, so something like, let's say if you are visiting medical store and if they will ask that mobile number, so you will say that, yes, and then you will pay the bill and then you will leave. Okay, so that field will be empty. So sometimes what will happen, user is not intentionally filling the data, but sometimes you can say the operator, okay, due to misunderstanding of operator, this is happening. At present, whatever happening right now, whatever current scenario is there in machine learning, most of time this missing data will be because of faulty equipment or malfunction of equipment. Okay, because most of time we are creating data set using you can say camera, or you can say sensor, okay, or some other machine. So if that machine is faulty, then it will create problem. Another thing, let's say supermarket data is there. We are running a supermarket, and I want to target the potentially, I want to target, you can say potential customers to increase my profit. Okay, so to whom I should target? Person with the higher income or person with the lower income? Lower income. Okay, person who is frequently buying or person who is frequently not buying? Frequently buying. Okay, person who is younger or person who is older? Older? Young, let's say young to middle age. Okay, so if let's say if I tell you that you will target 10 to 20, 20 to 40, or 40 to 60. So okay, so we will target 20 to 40. So what do you think, that people are giving correct data in supermarket? People are giving correct data in supermarket. Randomly, even on website also we are giving incorrect data. Okay, so missing data. One another reason is that while we are collecting data, we will assume that this is not an important data. They will randomly enter something, where they will randomly enter some data. Okay, and later on, what will happen? There will be a separate class for randomly entered number. There will be separate class for randomly entered number, or you can say a separate class for noise. So it may create problem. Not register history or change of the data. So best example is database migration. If we are migrating data from old schema to new schema, okay, then most of time when you are preparing database schema, data table schema, okay, you will enter that this value null not allowed. Okay, for particular column you will say that null not allowed. Okay, those value must be present. Okay, but that column is not present in old database. Then what will happen? New database won't accept that data. Why? Because we have mentioned that this column cannot be null. So this will also create problem. And next is missing data may need to be inferred. So inferred means using some standard understanding, normal understanding, we should replace it. For example, if I'm running a supermarket and my majority of customers are belonging to age group of let's say 25 to 35, okay, and then age is missing, then what I will do? I will replace with any random number in between 25 to 35. Okay, so inferred means uh, predict, predict it, and based on your prediction or your assumption, you will fill the data. Okay, so this is the part of missing data. How to handle the missing data? This is another important question. All of you are clear till now? Yes, online students? Vijay, Tanmay, Srinarayan, Pranjul.
Yes, sir.
Okay, clear?
Yes, sir. I'm getting it.
Okay, Mohammed. Okay, just a minute. Let's continue our discussion that how we can handle the missing value. Very simple and straightforward way. Simply delete it. Delete the entire row. Okay, but this won't work whenever you are having very sparse data set. Okay, because in sparse data set, if you will remove the tuple, then hardly there will be 1 or 2% at tuple, which are having all the column values. So we should not do it. It will be done whenever number of rows in terms of percentage is very low. Okay, then we can delete it. Otherwise, we should avoid this approach. Another, fill the missing value manually. You scan row by row, and wherever there is missing value, you place it under with your understanding and your assumption. So it is very tedious and infeasible. Fill in automatically. Now these are some of the feasible approach, like a global constant. If values are missing, then you will replace it with, let's say, unknown or from Mars or some number like, let's say, 99, 999, 77, 007, okay, 001. Okay, but again, as I told you, this will create a problem. It will create a new class. It will create a new class in that attribute. So your learning algorithm will be deviated or it will be diverted towards that unknown or new class. Yes. So I'm not getting your point. No, whenever you are deleting file, it won't get deleted. Never. Never. File never delete. If you will press Shift Enter, then also your file is not deleted. Yes, it is in the same position where it was. So computer never delete the file. Computer never delete any file, any data. No, no, memory will be given to free pool. Memory free pool. Do you people know the concept of pointer? Okay, so whenever you will create a file, what CPU will do? CPU will allocate a memory and it will attach a pointer with that file. Whenever you will delete a file, CPU will simply delete the pointer. That file will be as it is on your hard drive. If you will press shift delete, then also. Okay, when it will be gone? If you are doing low level formatting, manually or forcefully, if you will set all the sectors of your hard drive to 0000, then that data will be deleted. Otherwise, that data will be as it is. Whenever you will delete that file, you people have studied the linked list. Operating system maintains the linked list of free block. It maintains the linked list of free block. Whenever you will delete any file, each file will be stored in form of linked list. Each file will be stored in form of linked list. It will be divided into small blocks, and small portion of file will be stored in each block one by one. Whenever you will delete, what will happen? It will set head pointer to null, and that entire linked list will be appended at the end of the free pool. Free memory pool. So computer never delete it. Okay, it will attach that file block starting address of first linked list at the end of the free pool. So it never deletes because computer don't like IO operation. CPU don't like IO operation. It will try to avoid the IO operation. If you will delete it, then it has to perform lots of IO operation. And the IO operation, you can say, reduce the performance of CPU up to 80%. So CPU avoid IO, and that is IO operation. Except RAM, whatever other operation you are performing, whether you are dealing with hard drive, USB, all these are IO operations. So CPU try to avoid IO. No, no, nothing. No, size will be as it is. You are just removing the pointer which is attached to that file. That's how recovery software works. Recovery software, what they will do, they will read the partition, they will try to match it with the container of different kind of file. Okay, and if that container is matching, header is matching with JPG file, then it will recognize it as a JPG and it will go up to end of the file and then it will read it. Many times you will see that if you will look at the recovered photographs, then some of the portion of photograph will be empty or blank. Some of the means partial photograph will be recovered. Why? Because that block was given to some other process to use. Okay, so CPU always avoid it. CPU always overwrite it. It never delete. No, it will actually increase the performance and improve the reliability of your semiconductor material. Each semiconductor material will have read and write cycle. Number of read cycle and write cycle. Let's say 3 lakh or 5 lakh or 7 lakh. If you will complete it, then efficiency of that semiconductor material will be down. It will be decreased. Okay, then bad sectors will be introduced to your hard drive. Okay, so whenever there will be necessary, then only CPU will write it. It will try to avoid unnecessary input-output operation. So it will increase the reliability of your semiconductor memory as well. Even in RAM also, same thing will happen. Okay, in RAM, the same thing is happening. If a page is allocated to your process, Okay, and then operating system is giving that page to another process. Okay, and if that, let's say we have allocated 20 page to a process, and out of 20 page, 10 page are very old, 10 page are old page, or the page which were given to some other process. Those pages are allocated to new process. Okay, so new process, if it require, then only it will overwrite rest of the 10 pages. Otherwise, it will try to avoid it. So next time, if that same process is coming, that all data will be useful. It is known as COV, cow policy, copy on write. Unless it is not necessary, don't write it. Keep it as it is. Okay. But if that page is being updated, then see what CPU will do. CPU will reflect that page, okay, into hard drive, secondary storage. No, it is wherever it is. Yes, only pointers are getting null. It is showing you the size of linked list. Initially, linked list is small, then you will delete a file, large. Again, you will delete a file, large. Again, you will delete a file, large. Are you getting? That free pool also contain the data. Okay, but the data, we have simply set the pointer to null. That's it. It never delete, never. It is combination of computer organization and architecture and operating system both. No, there are lots of things like a frame is in hard drive. If that frame, same frame you will bring in RAM, then it will become page. Do you know what is difference between page and frame? PCB, you people have studied PCB, process control block. Yes. When you store PCB into hard drive, then it is known as inode. Inode. Yes, your process will become file. Whenever you will bring a file into RAM, it will become process. And whenever you will bring process to hard drive, it will become file. So we will study operating system someday. Nay, that file you will place in RAM, it will become process. And the process you shift to secondary storage, it will become file. Your program, whatever you have compiled, okay, that is bytecode. In hard drive, it is file. That same bytecode you bring into RAM, instruction will be executed. It become process. Yes, so let's continue with the machine learning. So fill it manually. We are discussing filling it with the manual. So first one is unknown. Replace it with some specific label, but it will create a problem of some new class. New class will be created. Another approach is attribute mean. Let's say if it is a numeric attribute, then whatever values are present, to take out the average and then replace the missing value with that average. Next is attribute mean for sample belonging to the same class. Okay, so if missing values are absent, if there are missing values in particular class record, okay, then you do one thing, you take out or you separate those sample, those class sample, you take the average of that particular attribute and then fill that missing value with that class average value, not entire data set average value, but only class average value. And next is most probable values, inference based, such as Bayesian formula or decision tree. So using probability theory, you just try to predict the value and replace with the predicted value. Yes, let's continue. So these are the various approach to deal with the missing value. Just a minute. Yes, so let's see that how we can deal with the noisy data. So what is noise? What is noise? Random error or variance in a measured variable. Okay, variance means deviation from the standard value. More, yeah, very high deviation from the standard value. Now, why? What can be the reason behind noisy data? I think this we have discussed. Yes, noisy data repeating 2 times. Okay. So data entry problem, data transmission problem, technology limitation, inconsistency and naming convention, and other problems like let's say duplicate record, incomplete data or inconsistent data. How to handle the noisy data? First one is binning. So we will remove or rather than removing, we will arrange them in particular, let's say sorted order. We will arrange them in sorted order, then we will divide that order into multiple parts, and then we will put that data into that particular bin or you can say range. Okay, so then that noisy data will be replaced by that bin rather than individual value. Okay, so then that noisy data we can replace with the bin average, mean of the bin, or you can say median of the bin. Okay, so with any value we can do it. So first sort data, partition into bins means divide into equal part. Then it can be smooth by means average, smooth by bin median. Okay, so median or you can say center value of that particular bin, or smooth by bin boundary. Bin boundary means is that particular range minimum and maximum value. So we replace that outlier or you can say noisy data with minimum or maximum value. Okay, but binning will be resulted into data loss. Binning will be resulted into data loss. Why? Because you are replacing original data. Yes, Diviji? So that you see first what we have mentioned that we will divide data into equal partition. Let's say if I am having 40 value, then I will create 4 bin of 10, 10, 10. My data is ranging 0 to 4040. So first I will sort them. Okay, let's say in that range my majority of data is in let's say 0 to 30. Okay, and beyond 30 there is not any data. So I will arrange this 0 to 30 into equal part of let's say 10 or 5 or 6. Okay, now that particular part, minimum and maximum value will be bin boundary. It will be bin boundary. Yes, that bin boundary for that particular bin or you can say range. Okay, so we can replace though all the mean value either with minimum or maximum or average or center value. Okay, but it will result into data loss. Okay, it will create problem in you can say training. It will create problem in training. Next is regression. So regression is like simply you put all the points and try to find out a line, okay, in such a way that there will be minimum error. There will be minimum error. Okay. Now, what do you mean by regression? Let me try to explain you. So, clear and cut idea. Okay, my screen is visible to all of you.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So here, let's say these are the points. So what do you mean by regression? We will try to find a line. Okay. First solution line can be like this. Another solution line like this. Another can be like this. So what do you think? Which line is having minimum error? Red line is having minimum error. Why? Okay, because red is closest to all the point. Or you can say standard deviation. Standard deviation in red line will be very low. And standard deviation in red line will be very low. Okay, so we will find the equation of for line, okay, where we are getting the minimum error, okay, using regression, and then whatever optimum value we will get, we will replace missing value with that optimal value. We will replace missing value with that optimal value. Clear? What is another approach? Another approach to deal with this problem is clustering. So you create the cluster and remove the outlier. Remove the outlier. Okay, and replace the missing value, or you can say noisy data, with the average of cluster. With the average of cluster. Next is combined computer and human inspection. So manually we have to delete the noisy data. Manually we have to delete the noisy data. But before we delete any data, okay, we have to check whether there is any importance of that data or not, whether this data is particularly important or not. So for that, we will go with correlation analysis. For that, we will go with correlation analysis. So what is correlation analysis? I think you people have studied this method. Chi-square. Chi-square in last semester. Okay. Anyone from class? Vijay, what do you say? Have you studied this? Vijay, Tushar, Preet.
No, sir.
Yeah. Have you studied this, Vijay?
No, sir. Sir, we haven't.
Yes, sir,
You
we
not
haven't studied.
you not studied this? Okay, no problem. Let's study. So, what is correlation analysis? Whenever we are training the model using data sets, okay, we have to use only related attributes in training. Related attributes in training. Okay, we cannot consider all the attribute and then we will train model. No, not at all. Okay, so it will increase the training time, as well as it will take lots of effort to fine tune your model. Okay, so whenever you are selecting attribute, okay, you should study the correlation analysis. So what is correlation analysis? Correlation analysis is relation of one attribute with another. Relation of one attribute with another. Okay, best example of correlation is, which we have discussed before, I think 2 or 3 days, sunlight and temperature. Okay, sunlight and temperature are positively correlated. Sunlight and temperature are positively correlated. Okay, and negatively correlated, speed and time. Okay, traveling speed and traveling time. Okay, if we will increase the speed, traveling time will be reduced, and if we decrease the speed, traveling time will be increased. And uncorrelated data, number of tree on earth and number of students in campus. Okay, both are uncorrelated. There is not any relationship between any of these. Similarly, here they have given the example that number of hospital and number of car theft in city are correlated. Number of hospital and number of car theft stolen in the city are correlated. No. In our country, no. In our country, no, because we don't have those kind of parkings normally, like they are having in Korea. Okay, but they are not directly correlated, but they are associated with the third attribute, that is population. Okay, so the number of hospital, it is directly correlated with the population, and the number of car theft are also directly related with the population. Now, let's try to understand observed, expected. What is observed? What is expected? Okay. So this is something like true and false positive. Just remember the formula: observed minus expected square divided by expected. Let me show you one example. Don't worry, I will show you one proper example because in exam there can be some from this topic. Like we want to find correlation between chess and science fiction. We want to find relationship between chess and science fiction. Okay, what is the first value? First value means I'm discussing about this. I'm discussing about this. This part. So, people who play chess like the science fiction. How many are observed? 250. How many are observed? 250. How many are expected? 909. Okay, we will see that how this is calculated. Okay, I will show you one example. Next, people who don't play chess and like the science fiction. How many are observed? 200. And how many expected? 360. Okay, 250 plus 200, so 450. People who play chess and don't like science fiction. How many observed? 50. What should be the ideal value? 210. People who don't play chess and don't like science fiction. How many observed? 1000. And how many expected? 840. Sum for not like science is 1050. Okay, and sum for play chess is 300. Sum for not play chess 1200. Okay. Now, how they will calculate the correlation analysis? 250 means observed minus expected square divided by expected plus again observed minus expected square divided by expected. So for all four value, we will apply this formula and then we will get the value. If it is showing positive value, then we can say it is positively correlated. Then we can say it is positively correlated. But if it is showing negative value, then negatively correlated. For 0, okay, so we will see one example. Yes, yes. So in that case, yes, I was expecting this question that because of square we will never get the negative value. Yes, yes. So higher the value, that means lower correlation. And if expected and observed both are same, expected and observed both are same, then value of chi square will be. So don't worry, we will calculate. Yes, yes. That we will see. Okay. I will give you one example, so you will have very clear understanding. Okay, there are other than this, there are some more parameters which are associated with this. So let me show you one example which I was searching, and I just found that I should show you that example. So let me show you. In exam, it will be asked that explain or calculate the value of chi square. We call it is known as chi square. Chi square. It is, although it is written chi square, but it is known as chi square. So calculate the value of chi square. Let's see. There are lots of terminologies, so we will try to conclude something from this. Okay, we will simply understand that what is a correlation between this. Okay, because in description you can say what I have put, like science fiction and play chess are correlated in the group. So there is a good correlation between science fiction and play. Why? Why? Why there is a good correlation between science fiction and play chess? Value positive jale? Is it because positive? No problem. We will not come to conclusion. Let's say one more example. I will show you how to calculate the correlation between two attributes. I have bookmarked it for you people. So I will show you. I am showing you another example. So they want to correlate marital status with the education. Okay. So let me show you. Let me bring you directly. Yes, this is the expression OI minus OJ divided by N. So OI is the marginal column frequency, OJ is marginal row frequency. Column means column part and row means row part, total. Okay, and we will calculate the expected using this. Expected of ij is equals to OI dot OJ divided by N. So let's see that here what they have calculated, 39 into 90 divided by 300. So let's find the table. Yes. Here it is. This is the chi square. So they have calculated expected. This is the expected, observed and expected both. Okay. Now, how they will calculate the expected? Marginal column frequency. Let's say we want to calculate for the first cell. First cell is 39 into 90. 39 into 90. 39 into 90 divided by 300. Total value. Okay, so we will get 11.7. For next, this one, high school. For high school, it will be 19 into 19 divided by 300. Next, we want to calculate bachelor and never married, this part. So 84 into 90 divided by 300. 84 into 90 divided by 300. Next is 54 into 90 divided by 300. 33 into 90 divided by 300. So it will give us the never married expected values. It will give us never married expected value. For married expected value, it will be 39 into 150 divided by 300. 90 into 150 divided by 300. 84 into 150 divided by 300. 54 into 150 divided by 300. 33 into 150 divided by 300. So it will give us second row. For third row, 39 into 30 divided by 300. 90 into 30 divided by 300. 84 into 30 divided by 300. Okay, so similarly, we are having observed and expected. We are having observed and expected values. Based on this, we will calculate the chi-square. We will calculate the chi-square. Okay. So in exam, you may be given this kind of sum, and you may be asked to calculate the chi-square. Okay. Don't worry about it. We will understand it later on. $23.57. That's what I told you. We will not come to any conclusion at present. We will discuss. So in data pre-processing, we will keep up to this. In data pre-processing, we will keep up to this. Let's start with the supervised machine learning. Let's start with the supervised machine learning. Let's take a 5-minute break and then we will start. it is not always prediction. Data mining is like rule association mining is there. Then clustering is also part of data mining. Then prediction is also part of it. Regression, classification. So these all are the part of data mining. Data mining or machine learning, more or less same. Okay, but the only difference is data mining focus on output, while machine learning focus on learning. That how well algorithm has learned. Yes. If anybody is having any query, then they can ask. Yes, anybody is having any query, any doubt? We will understand the interpretation of, let's say, chi-square later on, so don't worry. At present, let's just focus on process, that how we can calculate the chi-square analysis or chi-square value. So let's start our discussion. So we will be starting our discussion with supervised learning. Okay, and in supervised learning, there are two type of learner. There are two type of learner: lazy learner and eager learner. Lazy learner and eager learner. What can be the advantage of lazy learner and eager learner? Let's say you people are also doing this, you people are also using this same trick while you people are learning. So what is the advantage of lazy learning and what is the advantage of eager, let's say eager learning? Yes. Okay. Eager learner will learn in advance. Okay. So for example, neural network. So whatever data we will give, we will use for training. Okay, neural network will be trained using that. Okay, but in future, if any unseen sample is coming, a new object or a new value is coming, then that uh, model will be failed. Okay, so given a set of training tuples, construct a classification model before receiving the new data to classify. So well in advance it will learn and then it will be used. Okay, but what is the downside for unseen sample or for unknown sample? Eager learner won't work. Why? Because they are trained for limited set of data. What is lazy learner? Okay, they will learn whenever it is required. They will learn whenever it is required. Okay, so it simply store the training data and wait until it given a test sample. So they will not start learning by their own. Okay, whenever you will ask them to classify an object, then they will learn and then they will classify. That's it. Okay, so example of lazy learner is k nearest neighbor. K nearest neighbor, which we have implemented in our lab. So there is no need of training in k nearest neighbor. Without training, this algorithm, all the lazy learners work without training. They work without training. But eager learner, they require training. We have to train them. Now, lazy learner, less time in training but more time in predicting. Why? Because it will learn from the entire data set. It will learn from the entire data set. Now, normally, this thing, in case of lazy learner, although it is mentioned here that less time in training, but in case of lazy learner, in most of cases, there won't be need of training. Runtime, it will create the structure and all this. Okay, decision tree and you can say mail base. Okay, we will see that how this kind of algorithm will be used. Those are belonging to the, you can say, basic supervised learning method or basic classification techniques. Next is accuracy. So lazy learner will have higher accuracy compared to the eager. Why? Because once eager will learn, then they will not relearn. They will simply use the knowledge whatever they have learned. Okay, so this is something like static people. Static people learn limited things and then they will be very good at those limited things. And what about dynamic people? They will learn whenever it will be required. Okay, but their accuracy will be good. But what is the downside? Dynamic people will take more time. It will take more time for preparation. Why? Because every time they will start learning. While in case of eager learning, they are already trained, so they will start using it, whatever they have learned. So, lazy method effectively uses a richer hypothesis space since it may use local linear function to form an implicit global approximation to the target function. In simple word, it will use entire data set for learning. Okay, so if you are adding new object, new sample into data set, then it will consider entire data set for new calculation. While in eager, it is not like that. Must commit to a single hypothesis that covers the entire instance space. So it will be focusing on, you can say, specific or limited number of classes. So in lazy learner, instance-based method is runtime. K nearest neighbor, locally weighted regression, and case-based reasoning. So what is locally weighted regression? Construct a local approximation rather instead of going with global part. How it will be implemented, that will we will see after 3 or 4 lectures. Okay, because at first we are supposed to cover k nearest neighbor, navy base, decision tree. So all this classifier we will cover, and then we will see that what is local weighted regression and case based reasoning. Our area of interest or our interest is k nearest neighbor, a simple, easy to understand machine learning algorithm. So how we can represent it? This is sample X which we want to classify. I want to know the class of this sample X. What I will do, I will find out the closest neighbor. I will find out the closest neighbor. And majority in that neighbor, I will find out the label for the majority of the neighbor, and that label I will assign to this X. That label I will assign to this X. So that label we will assign to X. This is another representation. Here it is represented in terms of boundary. Okay, but this is weighted representation. What is the weight? Weight means importance, weight factor. Okay, now here the learning will be directly diverted towards the largest number of neighbor. Okay, majority number of neighbor. So it can be false. To avoid this problem, we can go with nearest neighbor with the weight. Nearest neighbor with the weight. Okay, so KNN with the weight is weighted k nearest neighbor. So closest neighbor will have higher weight. Then means we will arrange the neighbor in ascending order. Okay, and closest neighbor means first element will have maximum weight, next have second, third, likewise, and then we will calculate the weight of class 1, weight of class 2, and for which class we are getting maximum weight, we will assign that weight to the class, or you can say object. Now, here to find out the neighbor of this X, we will go with the Euclidean distance. We will go with the Euclidean distance. How Euclidean distance will be calculated? That I have, I think, explained you people in lab. If there are n attribute, yes, then square root of x1 minus x2 squared plus y1 minus y2 square plus z1 minus z2 square plus a1 minus a2 square. Yes, we will take the subtraction of attribute and then we will square it. Okay, we will take the square of subtraction, we will add it, then we will find out the square root. So that is the Euclidean distance. It is also known as similarity measures. It is also used as a similarity measures. Okay, if you want to know the similarity of two objects, okay, if distance will be 0, if the distance between two objects is 0, then we can say that both the objects are identical. Okay, but it is not the only parameter which we can use for the parameter. Okay, we have to go with other parameters as well. So target function could be discrete or real valued, means we have to provide number. Why? Because Euclidean distance will be calculated using mathematical formula. So mathematical formula cannot work with string. Okay, we must have to use the number. This is the diagram for KNN. Let me see if anybody has any query. I hope you people are now clear that why we have performed experiment of KNN in lab. Okay, so each time you are getting the different accuracy, because number of neighbor, okay, in this circle will be different, and minority and majority of particular class neighbor in this circle will be different. Okay, clear? How it will go? It will start with center, then it will go outside, then it will outside. Every time it will check whether number of neighbor which we want to compare are those in the circle or not. If those are not in circle, then again increase the radius, check it, increase the radius, check it, increase the radius, check it. Okay, but in implementation, we go in another way. We will simply calculate the distance, arrange them in ascending order, and top n neighbor or top k neighbor we will collect it, and then we will find out the majority from it. Now, in that case, if it is, let's say, even number of neighbors, okay, whenever you are using 10 years neighbor, they will ask you to go with the odd number of neighbors. So you don't face the issue of minority and majority in case of inequality. Okay, but in case of, let's say, even number of neighbors, okay, it may go with the weighted neighbor approach. Weighted. Okay, let me show you. Let me show you how we can do it. Attribute 1, attribute 2, attribute 3. We are having samples of now. This is the sample for which we want to find the class. Okay, this green represent class 1 and this purple color represent class 2. How it will work? Let's say current value of neighbor is 4. It will start with single circle. How many neighbors covered? 2. 3. How many? 4. Out of this 4, how many for class 2? 2. How many for class 1? Now let's find which one are the closest. From this, which objects are the closest? Class 2. So which label we will assign? Why? Why? Because we will give more weight. We will give more weight to closest neighbor. Yes. Yes. So we will. So to solve that problem, we will assign weight. Got it? Clear? So, huh? Yes, there is. This is something like there is not zero possibility that you will be killed by a monkey. So same thing is in data science. Anything is possible. Anything is possible. Anything. Yes. Another way we can bring data into another feature space, another mathematical feature space. Okay, so what will happen for that kernel function is used, mathematical special mathematical kernel functions are used. So if you will bring this data into some other mathematical feature space, then it may look like this. This same data will look like this. This is known as data transformation. Both are same. Only feature space is different. If I will bring normal, let's say if you will apply Laplace transform, if you will apply Laplace transform on this, then your feature space will become Laplace feature space. Okay, so in normal feature space, your data may look like this. Okay, but if you will apply kernel function, if you will bring it to some another feature space, then it may look different. Okay, so sometimes what will happen? The data which is not separable in one mathematical space, it will be transferred into another mathematical space. So inverse of this is possible. Many times it will happen. If data is too dense and if you will transfer it, then it will become sparse. So you can classify it very easily. I hope you people are clear with the k nearest neighbor. Aditya, Arjan, Avinash, Bharti, Bhavdeep,
Yes, sir.
Darshan, Dipen, Girish, Hitesh, Isha,
Yes,
Janvi,
sir.
Jaydeep.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So I hope now I am able to teach you people machine learning. What is machine learning? It is infinite. It is purely subjective. Anybody is having any doubt in this? Just a minute. Anybody is having any query, any doubt, whatever we have covered till now? Yes.
No, sir.
This where this will be applicable? 10 years neighbor? Yes, we have tested in lab. No, we have tested it in lab. We have used in lab. We will download one data set. Okay, how it will be done? That is what I am telling you. How we will test the? You can say what what we are actually doing in lab. How we are measuring the accuracy. Assume these are our data set sample. These are our data set sample with 3 features. Features, or you can say attribute. Attribute 1, attribute 2, attribute 3. Now, what you will do? You will do the testing. Testing means, let's say if I am saying number of neighbor k equals to 4, then what we will do in testing, training and testing, that I am telling you. This is k nearest neighbor, so there will be no need of testing. But what it will do, it will find the closest 4 neighbor. Okay, and it will assign the label. It will assign the label. So what will happen? Let's say, actually this is plus, but due to number of neighbor, it is circle. Okay, this is circle, but due to number of neighbor, it become plus. This will become plus. This will become plus. This will become. This will become. This will become. This will become dot. Okay. Now, out of 100 sample, let's say out of 100 sample, this 10 samples are classified incorrectly. That means your algorithm accuracy is 90%. Okay, because of number of neighbor, wrong number or wrong labels are assigned. Okay, so this plus this blue color sign result into errors, or you can say plus. What you will do ultimately in machine learning, you will try to develop an algorithm such a way that all plus will be classified as a plus and all circle will be classified as a circle. So, being a machine learning engineer or AI engineer, your task is to create a model which will label these samples properly. Okay, and in real world data set, accuracy will be 20%. Now, you just imagine how many attributes are there? Only 3. Okay, how many attributes we are using in our data set? 25 to 30. That is hyperdimension. Beyond 3 dimension, we cannot visualize it. Beyond 3 dimension, we cannot visualize it. Actually, we can, but we have to put 3 dimension into another dimension, 3D. Okay, if you will study cube, OLEP, and all these things. Yes. So then you can, okay, but you can still, you cannot visualize for the more than 3 dimension. Okay. Ideally, whenever you are working with, let's say, you are working with neural network. Okay, then you are creating hypershape. Hypershape means hyperplane, hyperclassifier, whatever you say. It will be such a complex, you can say, this kind of shape. Which will cover the object of all these things. You have to find a equation in simple word. You have to find a equation in such a way that all the points will fall on that equation. Okay? If it is two-dimensional equation, then plane or line. Sorry, line. It will be line. If it is three-dimensional equation, then shape. And if it is more than 3 dimension, then hyperplane. So you are supposed to find out a hyperplane that will separate the object of class plus. Okay, if you cannot separate the data using simple line, then it is known as data is linearly inseparable. Data is linearly inseparable. Yes, but if you can classify, let's say plus plus, circle circle with one line, then we can say data is linearly separable. Okay, your ultimate goal, your ultimate target is to find out a hyperplane that will separate the data. And whenever you are training a neural network, you are doing nothing but you are forming a mathematical expression. Like you people have studied Newton-Raphson method, right? Newton-Raphson method. Gauss Jordan. Okay, in matrix. Okay, so you people have not studied how to find out the root of polynomial. Okay, so the Newton-Raphson and different methods are there. Bisection method is there. So those method will be used to find out the root. Okay, root means it will give you the hyperplane. And these multiple datas are nothing but if you will form it in, let's say in matrix, then it will become the system of linear equation, which you have studied, I think, before some days. Okay, so if you will solve this system, yes, so if you will solve this system of linear equation, then you will find the hyperplane. So many times it will happen. Very slowly we will switch from machine learning to maths, and then again from maths to machine learning. Yes, anybody is having any query, any doubt in this? Online students? Online students? Saif Ali, Sri Narayan?
No, sir, all clear.
Yeah? Okay, Raj?
Yes, sir.
Clear?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Breathe. Rishabh.
Yes, sir. Clear.
So let's do one thing. Let's keep up to this. In this lecture, you people put your attendance in chat box and then you can leave.